Hello, anyone who decided to click on this video. Today I'm going to do an in-depth review of the Tudor Black Bay 58 in bronze. But first, coffee. Tudor Black Bay 58 bronze. Let's go over the case dimensions first. 39 millimeters in diameter, 48 millimeters lug to lug, 20 millimeters lug width, 11.9 millimeters in height, and has a water resistance of 20 bars, so 200 meters. So basically it follows the traditional Black Bay 58 family of dimensions. Super renowned for their wearability, and there's a reason everyone loves this series. For me, the Tudor Black Bay 58 regular editions and all the other editions they put out never really struck a chord with me, just because it looked quite simply boring to me. But the bronze version, that does something for me. But that's also just because I really like bronze as a material on watches. Call me a romantic. The way that bronze develops over time with you, I just find that that is so fitting for a watch in my collection. What's really interesting about this watch is that I got it used for a good price, less than retail. However, it pretty much just sat in the box. They never wore it, and it aged a lot. It still turned super dark. I threw in these basically denture cleaners into water, and I threw the watch in. Came back like 2 hours later, and the watch looked brand new. The thing is, it looked actually even paler than the pictures of a brand new bronze 58 was out there. And that was pretty interesting, because that makes me think that by the time that they manufacture it, that's how it looks. It looks pale, like pale gold. And then by the time it ships to the AD, that's when it's already kind of a more regular, like gold kind of look. Obviously bronze ages just by being exposed to oxygen. It just ages with time. But I think it looks great like that. It's just interesting to me how pale the bronze actually looks once you revert it to kind of original condition. I've tried vinegar, I've tried lemon juice. The denture cleaner is by far the easiest and best way to clean bronze and revert the patina. And since we're already talking about the bronze case, which is the main attraction for this watch, let's keep talking about it a bit. Tudor uses a bronze aluminum alloy, which they claim prevents greening of the watch, which is great if you're not super into forced greening of watches. I personally prefer the more rose gold and more brown look of the patina from bronze. But for people who are into the green, that's not something that, would work for them. The other thing with this bronze case is that in the beginning, it's pretty much more shiny. It's a little bit more blingy, but I don't think it's as blingy as everyone claims. A lot of people are saying it looks like 18 karat gold. It doesn't. In fact, it looks really pale, and in certain lightings it can look a little dull. But given after the patina, it does look a lot more dull, and that's something that you either love or just hate. Honestly, at first it was so pale that it kind of looked like a toy in some lightings. Another thing about the case is, I don't think people mention this that much, but bronze smells like money. Like literally, it smells like coins. And if that's something that would bother you, that's something else that you should really pay attention to. What I think is really cool about bronze is, in a way, since it's so easy to take off patina, It's almost like having two watches. It's like an insane strap change almost. Looking at the dial, it has 369 indices, which is commonly basically only found in the Rolex Explorer kind of style, which is really nice actually. I really like the 369. And although the indices are applied, they do look a little bit flat. They don't really give the same 3D looks that other indices can really have. You can see that the pips and the hands are wide, and basically they applied a lot of lume to it, which is great because even in slightly low light settings, as long as you had some lighting on it or some sunlight on it at some point, you can start to see the lume glow, and I love that. You can also see that there is actually a lume pip on the bezel, which I think is extremely important, and I don't normally see these as much in bronze watches, and that to me makes it more likely to be able to be usable by divers. I mean, are they actually going to use this watch? Maybe, probably not. Are we ever going to go diving with it? Let's be real here, probably not. But it's just the fact that I like that functional trait to it. I like that practicality. There's no point in making a dive bezel and putting lume on your watch if you can't even actually use it in the dark. But with this case, where they actually at least put a pip of lume on the bezel, that makes a world's difference to me, and that signifies that, you know, you can use it in the dark. Also on the dial, there is a slight paragraph of writing on the bottom talking about how it is COSC certified, which is great. There's a rumor that Tudor actually makes it better than COSC certified. The bezel is an aluminum bezel, so it's not bronze and will not age with the watch, but it looks great. It's finished well. On the dial is a brown kind of fume dial. It's not a really obvious effect, but when you do look a little bit closer, as John Mayer says, you can tell that there is that detail done, which is great. The snowflake hands and the indices and the second hand are all pretty much rose gold plated. That way it also won't age with time as much as bronze is, but it is finished well, and at least to the naked eye you can't see anything wrong with it. It plays with the light really well. I know under macro lenses, however, if anyone is super into that, the finishing does leave something to be desired. It's no Grand Seiko. The bracelet itself is nice. It's comfortable to wear. They put a T-fit clasp on it, which is great because the other Tudor Black Bay 58 watches do not have this T-fit clasp. What it does is essentially it gives you 8 millimeters of adjustments on the fly without any tools, which is great too because, you know, the wrist fluctuates. It also gives you a better way to have a perfect fit for your wrist. My only problem with this is that there is no half links like the other Black Bay 58s. There's no half links to this bracelet, which means that essentially this T-fit clasp just works as a half link, and that's pretty sad to me. People always give Grand Seiko a bunch of crap for having meh bracelets, and I think this bracelet leaves a lot to be desired in terms of actual fit. Other people may not have this issue, but for me, I think they definitely needed to learn from their cons of their other Black Bay 58s and include half links in this. My other issues with the bracelet is the quality control. Tudor tends to have this quality control issue. I've seen them many times at ADs where the case or their bracelets have some kind of dark spots on them, and they're not necessarily scratches, but it seems like it's like a finishing issue. My other issue with this bracelet is that the T-fit clasp, although it's nice that it's on the fly, it's actually not the easiest to use. It doesn't really feel that smooth. It feels kind of clunky, but I guess I'd rather have it there than nothing at all. Plus, overall, the finishing does feel a little bit rough. There are some rough edges, even though it generally feels smooth. The clasp also, because of the spacing, it does catch hair. I don't really have that much wrist hair or arm hair, but when I run my hands through my hair on the top of my head, the clasp has pulled out hair before, which has never happened with any other bracelets that I've worn. The case shape is pretty nice. It fits well on the wrist and it looks really sporty. It looks great. You get the traditional rose crown, which is lovely. The crown is easy to pop out, and it's very smooth to wind, surprisingly, and it feels solid. The bezel is a little bit hard to actuate. It's hard to grip and it's pretty firm. The good thing about that is that just means you can't accidentally knock it and make it a different setting when you're not supposed to. You have to pretty much intentionally twist the bezel. The click is great though. Definitely feels high quality. It's a 60 click bezel. Which means maximum you'll be off by around half a minute, so 30 seconds. If that bothers you, this watch might not be for you. So who is this watch for then? This watch is definitely for the watch enthusiast who is really into bronze, who wouldn't mind the patina and would actually take joy in owning a bronze watch. This watch, however, is only at select Tudor boutiques, so actually trying to get one is definitely quite the challenge, at least at a fair price. So it is priced at $46.25 USD before taxes. I think if you can get one at retail or below retail on the used market, I think that is probably the best bet. That's it from me. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below.